So you dropped English.
Yeah, and now I'm art history.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. I was pre-med when I started at Loyola.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So what
Yeah, I had my
happened?
pharmacy technician license, like I was working as a pharmacy technician. It wasn't enough for me.
So this is tips and tricks on how to survive an art history class, and we're here with Alex, an art history major.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is, overall, what do you think are the most important things to do to survive an art history course?
Okay, so definitely start by showing up to class because it's really vital that you get those lecture notes and that you're in that classroom environment listening to your professor lecture while also looking at the image, because that's basically what most art history classes are. You're looking at the images, listening to lecture, and I mean, you could rely on the book because there are always readings, but I found that it's much more important to listen to the lecture and to get your notes from that because it's a lot more focused and condensed, whereas the readings could sometimes be too broad, maybe too narrow, too much information. So yeah, definitely go to class, listen to the lecture, take good notes. Yeah.
What is the most effective note-taking method in your opinion? How do you take notes?
Well, that's a good question. My notes are kind of a mess, personally. Like, I just write down everything. Like, I try to do, bullet points. Like, try to keep it in separate blocks of information. But then what I always do is before each exam, I retype all my notes into PowerPoints that have the images that go along. And I don't know, it just really helps me because it forces me to reread all that information and then to retype it and make sure I understand it. And if I don't understand, I'll either ask my professor or look it up in the textbook or something. But yeah, that's usually what I do.
And so, how do you personally go about memorizing 50 plus identifications?
Yeah.
Slides.
Yeah, that's tough. So I found that the best tool is to use online flashcards because I know I don't have enough time to write everything out, cut all the images out, the money to print them. So I use studyblue.com because you could make a free account with them, and their virtual flashcards allow you to put images on them, which a lot of online flashcard makers don't let you do. So I usually do that, go through that deck a ton of times until I know. And then also when I study the notes, study the information that goes along with each image, it makes it easier to remember them because of those specific facts. So, I mean, there's no getting around the memorization. You just have to do it, and you just have to find whatever method works best for you. Yeah.
And how much do you feel that you rely on your peers and your professor?
Definitely not so much my peers, because I find that in art history classes, it's hard to get to know the people around you because basically from start to finish, it's lecture, and you need to be focused on that lecture. But definitely the art history department is small, so you will see the same people in your classes. It's good to befriend your peers because if you do miss a day of notes or something, it's good to get that information from someone else. But I definitely rely more on my professors. Loyola has great art history professors. They're all super approachable no matter how intimidating they seem in the classroom, because I think a lot of them do. And they're definitely the people that I reach out to first when I have a question. Yeah. Just don't be afraid to be an art history major, to take an art history class, because I know that art is something that seems really intimidating to a lot of people. I know before I went to Loyola, I was always really attracted to art, but I didn't know anything about it until I took my first art history class. I always thought art was something that it would be great if I could know about it and understand it, but I never thought I would until I took my first art history class. And it really, I don't know, changed my life. I never thought I would be an art history major, but I don't know. It's something that you definitely have to love, and it's something that I encourage everyone to experiment with.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. This was great.